imagine I'm talking directly to you and I say, I'm judging you. What do you want to say right now? Well, what do you want to say? I bet it wasn't like, hey, let's hang out. I bet it was more like, go screw yourself, Joe. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 ways that can help you stop being judgmental. My name is Joe Hudson. I'm a former venture capitalist, and now I'm a coach for some of the most notable names in Silicon Valley. So here's something to know about being judgmental. It hurts. Physically, emotionally, it hurts to be judgmental. There's a little bit of a payoff. It's like an addiction, right? Where there's some part of you that gets to feel better than the other person, but it hurts because it requires you to literally constrict your muscles. You have to like clench down to judge somebody else. So that's why it's so important to know ways to stop judging people. And there's 3 ways that we're going to talk about in this video. The first one is stop judging yourself, which is even more painful. The second one is feel the feelings that are underneath the judgment. And the third one is get really clear on the results that you want in your life and see how judgment just doesn't let those results happen. Okay, let's get into it. So here's the deal. If you see somebody judging you, you know that they are judging themselves 10 times harder than they're judging you. That every day they're living in a mind that just judges all the time, and at some point it's always judging them. And you could think for a second, hey, this person is judging people and it makes them feel better than everybody else. But you'll notice people who are really judgmental, and the more judgmental that they are, the less they actually feel good about themselves. And so that's how we know that when you're being judgmental, you're actually judging yourself. And that usually means that the internal voice in the head is saying things like, you should do that, you shouldn't do this, what's wrong with you, why didn't you work harder, blah, 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 blah. And it just makes us feel depressed and stagnant and horrible. And so if you really want to stop judging other people, the first person to start with is yourself. And that leads us to the second thing. The second thing is to feel the emotions underneath the judgment. This one's hard for people to see, but once you see it, oh my goodness, it'll set you free. So let me give you an example. Every time you are judging somebody, I am judging you for being late, for instance, there's an emotion underneath it that I don't want to feel. Oh, I don't want to feel abandoned. I don't want to feel left alone. Or I'm judging you for not working hard enough. And it's like, oh, I don't want to feel like I am alone in the world. I don't want to feel like all the responsibilities on me. I don't want to feel angry that you have abandoned me. Whatever it is, there's some emotion that you don't want to feel underneath. And all the judgment is doing is stopping you from feeling that emotion. It's like an emotional backwater. It's an eddy where the same emotion goes around and around and there's no fluidity. And because there's no fluidity, here's what can't show up: joy. What can't show up is happiness. And so a really cool trick, whether you're judging someone else or you're judging yourself, every time you judge, say, what is it that I don't want to feel right now? And then feel it. You don't have to feel it for a long time. You just have to pay attention to your body, 10 seconds, feel it. And you'll start to see that all of your judgment is just there to protect you from feeling the deeper emotion, the scarier emotion. And then when you feel that deeper and scarier emotion, what you find out is it's not that scary. It's actually kind of cool once you move them and they move, and then you feel free, not stagnant, open, and a lot more joy and a lot more happiness. This one is an amazing tool. I can't tell you how many people that I know who I've given this tool to have completely transformed their lives. Because when you start allowing those emotions to move and you feel them instead of stagnating them in judgment, what happens is there's so much more joy and so many more people want to be around you. And that positivity allows you to see all sorts of solutions that are different. And so you'll notice that the people who are judgmental towards themselves and towards each other, not only are they emotionally stagnant and kind of getting more and more depressed and more in their life, you'll also notice that their lives aren't changing. They're not growing. They're not transforming. It's this crazy stagnation. Just think about it. Think about the person yelling at their television in judgment all day. How's their life changing? What's moved? Nothing. It's this big stagnant rot. And so when I've seen these people in my life who started feeling the feelings underneath their judgment, change happens, and it happens really quickly. So let's get into the third thing. And the third thing seems so simple, seems like it wouldn't be effective, but it's crazy effective. And it's just be clear about what you want. So if you want people around you who are kind of then great, be judgmental. If you want people to basically reject you, then great, be judgmental. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you something right now. Imagine I'm talking directly to you and I say, I'm judging you. What do you want to say right now? Well, what do you want to say? I bet it wasn't like, hey, let's hang out. I bet it was more like, go screw yourself, Joe. Right? That's what happens. And people know when you're judging them. Don't pretend that if you're silent about your judgment, they don't know it. Of course they know it. The facial expression, the body language, it tells somebody if you're judging them. And so what you're basically doing is saying, like, I'm going to make it so you don't want to be around me. I'm going to make it so you don't want to buy from me. I'm going to make it so that you don't want to be a part of my company. I'm going to make it so that you don't want to marry me. I'm going to make it so that you don't want to date me. That's what you're saying. So if that's what you want, great, be judgmental. Look at the results of your judgment. Look at how happy it's making you. Look at who it's inviting into your life. Yeah, you get that short high of feeling better. It's the kind of high that you get from like scrolling all the time. It feels good for a bit and then it makes you feel like shit. And so if you want to feel like shit, then judge all you want. But if you don't want to feel like shit, just notice how judgment makes you feel and notice what kind of life you want. Don't make it into a should, because that's just another judgment. Don't tell yourself you shouldn't judge, that's another judgment. Then you're judging yourself. All you have to do is just notice the pain, just notice what you want, and allow yourself to go in that direction. It's as easy as that. So those are 3 ways that you can really interrupt the pattern of being judgmental. But I have a warning for you. And the warning is, when you stop being judgmental and you allow these emotions in, eventually you're going to have to let love in. And love is sometimes the scariest emotion of them all. Because when you really allow love in, there's a way for you to really hurt. There's a way for you to really have heartbreak. Now that heartbreak, oddly, will only increase your capacity to love if it happens. But I can see how scary it can be. And so just know, as you drop that judgment, just slowly take care of yourself and allow that love in. It's going to feel immense. It's going to feel scary. But eventually, it's going to feel like home. All right, if you liked the video, please subscribe or write in the comments anything that you would like us to make videos on. And if you want to watch the next video, here it is.